7:30, right on the dot. That's what I just told Jonathan.
And he
Right
just
before
said,
I
look
finished
at
praying.
us, 7:30 on the dot. It's good to be exactly 30 minutes late.
Exactly. We were exactly 30 minutes late, though.
When
I
you
mean, you
run late,
can't
at
plan
least
for
run
that
late
kind of
on
stuff.
schedule because
If you're going to run late with somebody you like. Lake Point's live. She just got a notification, probably. Look at us.
I did. I did.
We are live right on time at 7:30 for a 7 o'clock gathering.
Mine says 7:29, so really
Oh,
we're
we're
a minute
ahead of
early.
time. This is good.
We're running
so on top
1
of
minute
line.
ahead of schedule for being 30 minutes late.
We are
That's pretty much the definition of my life. 1 minute ahead of schedule for 30
1
minutes
minute.
late.
Yeah, but we're doing it though.
If 7:30 were the time, we would be 1 minute early.
If 7:30
It's
were the
good night.
time, we'd be 1 minute early. It's just how we roll in the Harrell
I
House.
think we've said it all the ways you could say it
There
now.
are very few more ways that you could spin that. We are killing time, and we don't even have to. Hello,
true.
everyone. Happy Sunday evening to you. We
Happy
hope you've had a
Sunday.
great Sunday so far, and are excited to spend a few moments discussing theological ideas.
Yes.
That sounded formal, didn't it?
It did sound very formal.
That sounded kind of denominational.
Denominational. Because we're non-denominational.
Non-denom. If you were one of the 4 people watching this right now and you were raised in a tradition of a denominational background,
I
would
was.
you be up for sharing that with the class? Of which denominational, somebody already dropped.
Oh.
Methodists are already
We're
leaving.
like, this doesn't
Which
seem-
denomination were you raised in? Shante?
Pentecostal.
You were Baptist?
No,
This is awkward.
we were not raised the same.
We were not raised the same. We were raised in different camps.
I went from Pentecostal straight to community church, which was non-denominational, which is like we
Wow.
are now, but
It is.
also
She's in
not
that vein.
Baptist. I was a few things before I was Baptist.
It's true. But then she married Danny.
Then I became Baptist,
Went
and
to
now
the-
I'm back to this.
And now we're back to the non-denom. So we've been in this one longer than anything else so far. Well, that's not true. She was Pentecostal way longer than that. Pentecost Joyce. Thank you, Joyce.
Church of God is
Joyce,
different than
might I
Assemblies of
ask,
God.
where did you spend your childhood? Where were you reared as a child? We've talked about this before, but I'm having a hard time remembering. Do you remember before Miss Joyce shares?
We talked about stories, but I'm going to say it wrong. If you tell us,
Miss Joyce,
'cause
I'm
I don't wanna get it
intrigued
wrong.
to know.
Miss Joyce has the best stories.
You have
though.
amazing stories.
She's like
and you're
helped
great
raise
with my
so many
kids.
children. She knows a lot about nursing. Our kids love her. She
really
can
is
make a
neat.
mean cake.
It really is a mean cake, Joyce.
Beautiful, I should say.
Joyce, oh wow, this is awkward.
He
Did
needs
I
to
give you
ice a cake.
Canton, Ohio?
Ohio.
Wow, Ohio.
That's only a song for us. It's, we both thought of it,
We
but
did.
it's
It
just
was
our
a good time in
family.
our life. Miss Joyce, that's fantastic. When did you move down south, Miss Joyce? Let's just go with this. Are you okay with that? I'm intrigued.
Miss Joyce is like, someone please answer.
Someone else share. No one else is going to share now. You got this. I was raised in the Baptist church, but most of you know this because I share stories about it all the time in sermons.
All the time. It's a sweet church
Sweet
with
church.
wooden pews and hymnals.
Wooden
and
pews,
stained glass.
the whole
Stained
thing.
glass?
Stain. That are
That's what
dedicated
Are they like? Yeah, I was going to say they have like
in
name
memory of
plaques
people.
underneath.
Absolutely beautiful. True story. They're absolutely beautiful.
When
So,
I was little, the church pews were padded. They were blue.
Yeah.
And they had little gold placards on the end of each piece, like the wooden edge of
in
the
memory of
pew.
people.
Or in honor.
Honor.
If they were alive, it said in honor. If they were not, it said in memory.
Yeah, that'd be awkward if you got that one backwards. No, ours growing up, it had just, as far as I remember, Big Dan, who'll be on a little while, he'll remind me. I think they were straight wooden pews for a long time, and then with
They
the
had
green
cushions,
cushions,
or something. Green cushions,
that
yes.
slid back and forth.
Florida.
And then
Okay, that's
when we
what I
got
would have said. Miss Joyce was Florida, but I was afraid to
Florida.
be wrong.
Yes, okay. Yeah, Tom, you had one. You know what I'm talking about, Tom? Tom, what is that about? Tim. Yeah, we did, and then I would say early '90s. We got out of the '80s, and we got padding, like nice, built-in kind of padding.
That was how
You know what
these
I'm talking
blue ones
about?
were.
They were
built- it was
pinkish. It was like a maroonish. It's like faded maroon.
No red padding on pews. Red. Oh yeah. So I think.
Carolyn, you understand? Okay,
in,
not padded,
okay,
just
so
a straight
my church.
wooden pew. Tim.
I was probably like Nathaniel's age when we built a new building. So
Okay.
before that, we were in Porterdale, and we need to. I don't know if our listener will see this, but we need to go. We were just talking about this building. I have like these like tiny little memories of the old building, but I feel certain that it was just wooden pews.
Yeah.
And the carpet was, to me, it seemed like now what would be indoor-outdoor carpet in
Yep.
the sanctuary, but it was green, like puce green. Is that the
Like
name
really,
of
really
that color?
thin and tight.
And like woven in. with little specks of brown in it.
Yeah, we're similar. Mine
Why
had green.
would you pick green and specks of
Our
brown
pew
of
pattern
all
was
the
green.
colors?
Green
But-
was in the 70s and 90s.
But then,
80s.
and I think that's why it was such a big deal that our new pews in the new building were
Yeah,
built-in padding,
yeah.
and they were really pretty blue.
Blue's a
It
good
matched the
color
blue
for
carpet.
pews.
And the light blue walls, everything was blue, gray blue.
Our walls were not blue; they were white. But we did have Tim. Did you have? Because Tim grew up in Conyers, right? Tim, up there at the Christian church.
That's right.
Well, Rob Reno was a youth pastor for a long time. But Tim, did y'all have the baptistry, the baptismal pool? Was it in the wall, like behind the preacher, behind the stage and everything? Because I don't know if that was just a Baptist church thing. Did your church didn't have that, did it? See, ours was behind
yes,
it,
mine did,
and it
but
was
not
beautiful.
with a stained glass window like yours.
Well, the stained glass window
ours
was new.
always open.
Before ours was always open, and it had a beautiful painting of like the Jordan River
There
with
was
sheep on it,
there were no paintings.
and glass that
That's
came up to about
Baptist, I
right
think.
here, so you could see. It was the coolest
was
thing. They get in the
plexiglass.
water, and you see the water moving.
Did you guys wear the robes, the white robes?
Later, we got fancy later.
We had
did
white
it at
robes.
first. We didn't at first do that one, but
And
Tim,
there
okay,
were
that's right.
steps down from either side
Yeah,
into it.
ours just had one side of steps.
One side, one room, the room on the left is where the baptistry robes lived. And then on the other baptistry side was the church library and the xylophone.
Just in case you want to bust that xylophone out.
I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know that anybody ever played it.
Tim, you
But
play the
we would
xylophone,
run in
don't
there
you?
and play on
Behind
it,
the
like for fun. The kids would, and then we get in trouble. Get out of there.
Don't do that.
I'm like, who's gonna play it? It's just in here. I don't know. Maybe if
do you
Sister
do?
Gracie watches, she'll tell us.
Sister
because
Gracie will tell us.
she
The
was
heater never
probably
worked.
in charge of the. Is it egg xylophone? Xylophone.
Xylophone, just xylophone. It's
I
not
don't-
exile. It's xenophobic. It's just
Felt like I
xylophone.
was saying it wrong.
I don't know where xenophobic came from. That was
She was
inappropriate.
probably
I'm
the
very
keeper
sorry.
of the xylophone. I'm not sure.
The keeper of the xylophone. That's her title.
I
The
don't
xylophone
know.
keeper. Tim, our heater never worked either. This is interesting
Ours
because
did.
it was
built
like
in.
walking into a swimming pool. Had the same
Didn't
texture and
someone
feeling
almost
to it
burn the church down?
until Bob Sarvel.
Oh, you're gonna say the wrong name now.
He did. Great man. Miss Sonora Jenkins, that was my Sunday school teacher that I got saved while I was in her Sunday school class. She walked me there. It was her dad, Bob and Iris. It was his wife's name. Sweet, sweet family. He was smaller than me. He was this little bitty man, Korean War veteran. Crazy stories. But he, Tim, would go up after the heater would stop going out and set this heater, not like we have at our church, but a
Oh yeah,
heater
because
in
the
there.
one we have is way safer.
And y'all, it
No,
caught
ours
on
is
fire
for a
one
farm.
night.
Like, what do
Ours
people
is-
use ours for?
Ours
To
is
actually,
totally safe. It's a ice. It deslaws the ice
what in like a horse trough?
in a horse trough.
It's made for a horse trough.
Made for a horse
So
trough.
we're just sticking with the horse trough theme.
Horse trough is us. We are horse trough strong. I was Assembly of God in Atlanta on TV. My husband was Porterdale. Whoa,
Oh,
Carolyn.
okay, we have some
Which
Porterdale
church in
connection.
Porterdale, Carolyn? This is important because y'all are probably related.
Baptist
I was
Porterdale.
Atlanta and
Probably
Baptist
the
behind
one
the pulpit.
downtown Porterdale. Is it Porterdale Baptist?
Porterdale Baptist.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
didn't
it.
finish reading that one. Yeah, how crazy.
I
Hey, so
one
you
time
would
at
know-
a revival service knocked my front tooth out at Julia Porter Methodist, which is probably right across the street from that Baptist church. We
It
were
always
eating
comes
ice
back to
cream
the
with the
tooth for Shante.
firefighters.
This
I
tooth
don't-
story.
No, it does not. That's not
We
true.
were just doing rabbit faces in the dining room table for dinner,
Okay.
and the tooth story should have come in there.
It
Heather,
didn't though. That's the thing. It didn't. It didn't. It doesn't.
I'm looking at your teeth. Can you tell?
I was little. I was 2, and
It's
I
like in
knocked
the
my front
office when he
tooth
says,
out.
"Look right." Jim looks at Dwight right here the whole time. Oh mercy, Heather.
So
Cannot tell you how. Heather, thank you for sharing that. It was a great church service. We really did 2 good church services today, and we are for real. We are here for you,
sweet.
both on here and in the building. Anything we can do, Heather, we'll be praying for you tonight. Miss Joyce had wooden pews, and boy, oh boy, you didn't wiggle or
You
squirm.
did. They're very
The
noisy.
wrath of mom after church. Shawnee's got some of those stories too. Our church had the baptistry.
I do.
First Baptist Pastor Ray Hughes. How fun is that?
I feel okay.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, I feel like I was just backing up to the pastor of Baptist. I think I'm related to the Porterdale Baptist preacher from back in the day.
Probably dated him.
I mean, like,
Neither here nor there. Shante did date a lot of guys that
I
became
dated.
preachers.
Okay.
Half
This
of them are
is
probably...
this is an old conversation that you always start, and it doesn't. It's
There's
not
nowhere
true.
to go from here. Good evening, Sarah. We're glad that you're joining us this evening. Porterdale. Carolyn, the story's getting even better. Assembly of God, Jimmy Swagger in Atlanta.
It's the same one that's on.
But
that we
Caroline,
seen
you said
today.
Carolyn, you watched it on TV, right? He didn't have a campus. I don't think Swagger had a campus. He said
We're
in Atlanta,
learning
though.
a lot. We're learning a lot,
This is a bonding experience, Carolyn.
right?
It is. Y'all, I'm glad that you're joining us this evening, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. I really did enjoy the church that I grew up in, but I really did not start going to a community non-denominational church until I started.
introduced him to that.
Not even dating.
I
Shantae,
remember
like
the Wednesday night that Danny rode with
7
me to
years in.
Eastridge.
wearing
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops.
I don't know why that was such a big deal. Actually, I do, because you were like, can we wear these to church? And I was like,
I was like, what kind of church does you wear flip-flops? Which are hats inside? I was like, this is too much.
And then he was like, I just don't know.
My flip-flop broke. You remember?
He said,
It broke
I don't know
on
if
the
you
way.
understand. I'm from a really traditional church with a strict dress code. And I was like, I was raised Pentecostal. I don't know.
I was like, I don't know what that means. I've
How
never even heard
much
Pentecostal
more
before.
strict dress code can you get?
That's true. What do
I've
you do?
been the spectrum of dress codes. at church.
Shonda's on multiple
But
spectrums all the time.
It's true. That's true. There's no debate. You did break your flip flop, but I can't remember what you did about it.
I
Did
was
you just
so
wear it
embarrassed. And you're like,
broken? It was
nobody's going to care.
such
Go
a huge
barefoot. I was
deal.
like, barefoot at church. And then I showed up and there's like 800 kids and they're having a blast. People are getting saved. It was absolutely wonderful, but it was a lot. This is your first community church too, Tim. We're in the same camp, my friend. Rob Rayner, when I started talking to Rob, I was still in Haven Fellowship was an interdenominational church. Very similar in that we didn't have, the denominational background.
But we were really Baptist.
But it was pretty Baptist in
I would
flavor,
say
and a lot
mostly
of, that's right.
Baptist.
So this is definitely the first style church we've been in like this, Tim.
We freaked Danny out when he came to East Church because we took communion way more than he was comfortable with.
We took it twice. I went to
He came to 2 services with me, and he sat with
the first time I've
me
ever
in
been to
youth
2
service
services in my
where
life.
I sang and played.
And they did communion. I was like,
Communion.
cool.
He was
That's
like,
once
well,
a
check,
week is a lot,
done.
but I'll try it.
And then we went to sit with my parents, and he was like, I'm not doing this
I
again.
refused the Elements second service because I've already taken communion once a day. I was like, it's like sacrilegious to take it 2 times a day.
That's when my parents were like, yeah, I think it's okay if you date him. I feel like he's going to be...
Yeah, he was that fuddy-duddy Baptist guy. Mickey St. John Edwards backed me up. I mean, you get this.
It's quarterly,
Wow.
I know. Was it quarterly?
It was
Or
quarterly.
monthly?
It was whenever we decided, mostly quarterly, and it was beautiful, and
Whenever
I
we
love it.
decided.
Had the table, the cloth over it. It was for real,
is beautiful.
very ornate, and this really is. It's very, very special time, but it was not every week. That was a game changer.
It was
for
not
me.
every week for me growing up either. I think it was like
whenever the
more like
preacher felt
Easter,
led, right?
Christmas for us. I don't know. I think it was like Easter, Christmas, and then there was this missionary day in the summer that we had. Maybe quarterly. It's coming up. Maybe it was quarterly, but I don't know. We also had Christmas. Correct me if I'm wrong, people who know me, and I was a kid, so maybe we either had New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve watch night service, or maybe
told me about
both. I feel like it was Christmas Eve that we would be at church at midnight, and we would run around and say, "It's Christmas at midnight." I did not date anyone. Can you
Carolyn-
please explain. Danny likes to say that, but it's really just people from my youth group that I dated. They're in my age group.
He probably went to Easter's at one point. 41-year-old Baptist preacher named David. 37, almost 8-year-old former Baptist preacher named Danny. David, Danny, Baptist. Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, Danny.
I just give you a hard time. Thank you for sharing that, Carolyn. Mickey St. John Edwards, not very often at all. I get it. That was for real. That was us. Tim, and now I've grown to appreciate it every week. It's become a part of my weekly spiritual walk. Absolutely love it. Miss Linda, I'm glad you were joining us tonight. It was great to see you in
Miss
church this
Linda.
morning.
Oh, I missed
I got
you.
to sit next to you for a little while. Man, it was good to see you in church today. Love me some Mickey Edwards.
Great Kool-Aid.
Carolyn, you know this. Carolyn, Mickey, Carolyn, this is great. My mother wrote some hymns for Jimmy Swaggart.
It's amazing.
Joyce, are you serious?
This is like a small world.
Which
over
hymns,
here.
Joyce? You've got to share this. I'm not even kidding. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
One time they forgot to buy grape juice. That's
Great Kool-Aid.
that's
I
straight
can
VBS
relate,
kind of stuff.
I can relate to the leaders of that church because we've been in that exact predicament before.
Dude,
The
I
grape
mean, we used to finish off the Kool-Aid in the kitchen afterwards. I'm not going to lie. It was a big deal.
the Kool-Aid or the grape juice?
No, we never did Kool-Aid. I mean, we had class. No offense, Mickey St. John Edwards, but
I'm just saying.
we were a classy country
But
church.
are you saying you finished the communion juice? Because that is a no-no. You cannot do that.
What, you dump it down the sink? It's the Holy Elements. No, we wouldn't like ask permission. We would just sneak in
No,
there.
one time I busted the kids at Lake Point doing that when we were in the hotel. You know that little bar area?
The
They
bar.
would
It was the
sneak
church
down
bar. It was
from
fine.
Kids Point all the way through the
maze,
restaurant,
the
all the way
restaurant,
down.
the real bar,
and
upstairs.
nobody knew they were in there, and they're just drinking all the leftover
Drinking all
juice cups. After other people,
great.
it was gross.
My sister and I used to save them for a little while because we didn't know this is a true story.
didn't see 'em
This is
very often.
absolutely a true story. I promise. I know some of y'all are raised in different traditions than me, and that's totally fine. We support everybody. I promise you, I did not know what a shot glass was
Oh, Danny.
at the age that me and my sister, we were like little, like 10 and 9 or 12. We started saving the little communion cups and we would take them home and do like shots of chocolate.
Can we?
So,
When do we get to bring back communion cups that have the
we're
real
talking to Bill
ones?
Hampton about that one. We're going to maybe do a
Keep
mixture for a
saying
little
that.
while.
Keep saying
I
that.
need, don't put me on the spot. I need to find
Okay.
out. We have a quorum. Let's find out.
Guys, just know that I'm advocating for the real ones. Just know. Every
Hell.
Sunday, I'm like, hey, is this the Sunday that we're going to do the real ones? Because
Look at all these people
those
in here.
disposable ones are
I know.
not
It's okay.
not
It's
my favorite.
Tisha.
Hey, Miss
I
Shannon,
heard
also.
the women's retreat
were
was
talking
phenomenal.
about it. I hope it was great.
I'm so
Oh,
excited to
good,
hear
good,
about this.
good.
I'd love to do maybe like a one. I just want to get with you and hear about it. Maybe we could
Awesome.
do a video or something. I want to share it with everybody. Tisha, very thankful for you. I've heard it was fantastic.
That is great.
Worked with Carolyn at the lumber yard when I met Steve.
That is
Y'all, this
awesome.
world just
What a
keeps getting
fun-
smaller. I'll be.
That is awesome.
Carolyn, it was awesome service this morning. It really was. Beautiful songs. Wonderful, wonderful young lady that was baptized.
Poured it out
Lady that was
outside.
baptized. It was hard.
The
Hey, Miss
Methodist
Shanna.
Church poured it out outside. Which is
The
probably,
Methodist church poured it outside at the end of church.
Just kidding. I don't know what do we do. What do we do? Down the drain, probably.
I don't know. I can't even judge. I'm not even back there. There's no time. RG and Sarita are throwing them
could
back
be
there.
any-
Oh, my word. Oh, it was
I don't
good.
know what we do with. I don't know. It's not like a. It is a sacrament, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Easy. Oh, my
It
word.
is.
She was raised Pentecostal.
is.
Give her some grace.
I was.
It was powerful. Tisha, for real. And Heather was Heather Howard. I'm sorry, Heather Howard. That's absolutely wonderful. Man, that's great. And I'm glad that went really well. We thought the shot glasses were tiny party cups for adults. Hey, you gotta have fun. My kids thirst. Oh,
The women's retreat was awesome.
tell me don't know what shot glasses. Danny, my
Danny's-
kids thirst. Danny, my
He's
kids
being
thirst.
allowed to himself.
Tell me don't know. I get it. That's what happens all the time. The women's yeah, that's good. Y'all, that's absolutely wonderful. Sorry, if you
He's
want to
just
know
catching up.
how
This
my
is how-
brain
yeah.
works as I'm reading things, it's just like that. That's just how things go. Joyce, I'm still wondering which hymns your mom wrote for Jimmy Swaggart, because that's amazing.
Foot washing services
Once a
were
month.
something that I've heard of as well, Miss Joyce. I don't think I've ever been to one, but I know
At our
exactly
at Haven
what you
Fellowship at
mean.
our last church, we would have like ceremony, like in front, like it would be more like a pretty, not ceremony. That sounds weird, but we would have a, you know, Steve. Sometimes I'd wash Steve's feet and he'd wash my feet. But we wouldn't have everybody do it. But he was like, "Hey,
Like
y'all, just
symbolic.
symbolically,
Yeah, I do.
to
I
show
know
everybody
exactly.
how sweet it
I
was."
feel like we did an inordinate amount of it in college at like collegiate ministry. Stop. No, I'm just saying like BCM. I feel like it came up a lot that we had all these foot washing things
Mm-hmm.
all the time. I felt like more than any other time. Not that
Yep.
it's great. It's a very biblical thing. It just seems like
Awful.
we weren't being super creative with like, why don't we could do? We just do the foot washing thing.
Yeah, we did.
We
It
had
was
like
just a
all the
comeback.
supplies. Yeah, some
We had all the
fallback
supplies.
thing.
You got some water in a basin, you're good to go. It's absolutely true. Yeah, we did not do foot washing services. We did like Fifth Sunday
I was
sings
about to say we had
a
Fifth
lot of
Sunday Sing.
times on Sunday
That
evening
was my
services.
first musical debut. Was at a Fifth Sunday Sing.
Yeah.
I played the ukulele. I did.
Just getting
Jesus
better.
loves me on the ukulele.
Some things, you know, it's just good. It's just good for the soul. So yeah, no, we didn't do that one.
You wanted to say
And
so many mean things right then.
I didn't. I refrained. We had Sunday night services and then the Wednesday night as well. And somebody asked me this last week, another church in town said, y'all still doing Wednesday night services? And we are. We take a break for the month of December, right really after Thanksgiving. We're going to pick back up after the first of the year again. But I enjoy that. I enjoy the Wednesday night services. I enjoy this on Sunday evenings. It's good to be able to catch up with everybody in time.
I
So-
enjoyed last Wednesday when Leanne took like
Man, that was
400
wonderful.
children into
Y'all,
Kids Point, and then the parents got
There
to
were
leave.
so many kids. We went to dinner and it was just wonderful. Really,
was a
really
good
nice
night.
dinner. Yeah, she had 52 kids at the kids
So
practice and that was just Kids Point
Just
kids.
for
That
Kids
was
Point.
not the.
I don't know where they're going to stand when they sing.
I don't either. I don't know where we're going to put all these people when they come to watch
They
their
may
kids
sing
sing.
around us in the aisles of the church. I
Like
don't
an
know.
angelic choir. We'll just have them wrapped around the room in the balcony.
I really
For
don't
real,
know.
it's absolutely amazing.
It
to
was
see
really
what's
cool
going
to
on.
pull up and see all those kids and all those parents ready to be picked up.
So neat. We
It's
had
really
another
cool.
child today, was at Dairy Queen. He told me, his mom told me they met the dad. His dad was working, so they met the dad at Dairy Queen for lunch. And we're in line, in the drive-through line, and told him he wanted to go back and talk to Danny and Leanne about getting baptized on Christmas Eve. It's going to be Christmas Eve. at the 3 o'clock service. So it's going to be really, really sweet.
Sweet.
But y'all, really neat things are happening. So thankful for Leanne. We have a couple of things coming up this coming Saturday. One is Pancakes with Santa. Which is wonderful.
Awesome.
We have so many kids that we do need folks to pre-register for that. All right. In the past, we've always said, hey, just come.
I think there's 4 time slots.
There's 4 time slots. So if you haven't had a chance, you can go, I think, on our website. I'm pretty sure. Just comment on here, reach out to Leanne. But there's a little QR code you can scan.
Yeah, it's a QR code registration. I was very
And then
proud
we'll
that
share it
we
on here at
actually
the end.
registered our kids for something.
That's good because we had to because it was filling up ASAP. And then after that, we're having probably the same amount of kids on the church float. If you want to come, y'all, this year we're doing it different again, because there's so many kids. We're asking, I think it's
limited.
mostly going to be just kids on the float. Parents, we're going to have you find a good spot toward the end or somewhere in the middle, and we'll keep all the kids at the end when we start handing them off to you and all that stuff.
I think
But
there
it's going
is
to
a
be really, really
specific
good.
drop-off.
There's
location.
specific instructions for that, so don't worry. There's a specific
An
plan.
email is going out
just don't-
today or tomorrow with
email's coming out.
specific pickup, drop-off instructions. Just don't plan to ride with your child unless you've spoken to Leanne,
Yeah,
because
we are very limited
there's
on
a
space.
few of us that are going to be on the float with all
just to
those
mainly
sweet
be able to
kids.
watch the kids.
But we are excited about that. That has been a tradition that we have participated in from our very first Christmas as
Yep.
a church.
Yep.
And as often as the city has had the parade, we've ridden in it every
That's
single
right.
year. We missed,
Every year we've done
I
that.
think COVID put a little stop for it, but we're excited to be back in.
Really
the
thankful
swing
for
of
that.
things.
And it's neat to watch it grow every year. We're watching
Our
it grow.
first Christmas float. Do you remember? Chris Walls and Sydney Stevens were Mary and Joseph,
Yeah.
and they were little.
Like, they were little. They were
Shanna, if
eighth
you're
grade.
still here,
Shanna,
how
it
old
was-
do you think Sydney was?
When she was married, and one of our kids was they had a
And
baby
we
doll.
had Dee Dee. You remember Caroline's baby doll,
Dee
Dee
Dee.
Dee? That
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah, very life size looking doll. It was
even
kind of
more
creepy,
than life
really,
size,
actually,
really.
think about it.
But it was the baby Jesus, and then all the kids dressed up in pillowcase animals. Do you remember making the pillowcases? Anyway,
It was great.
Sweet memories. And
Really,
we
really
thought we had the most kids.
The most
Man,
kids.
there's so many kids, and there were maybe 14, and it was awesome. Sweet memories.
Absolutely sweet.
And then
So
every
that'll
year
be-
it's just
every
gotten
year
more
it
and
keeps
more
growing. So
fun.
really good. Can't remember all the titles, but I remember singing, playing them. One says, "I come to my mountain to meet Jesus there."
One of
Joyce,
the hymns.
send
I'm
that
gonna
to
look
us.
this
That's
up.
I'm
That's
for real.
exciting.
Joyce, what was your mom's name? Would you mind sharing us your mom's name? I want to look these up. I'm very excited to hear more about it. Raise my hand. Caroline, come on, raise your hand anytime, girl. We got some hand raisers at Lake Point. We have some hand raisers. Oh, Marcy. Oh, the live nativity. That's right. At
Yeah.
Harmony Campus, we're doing a live nativity December 18. It's going to be absolutely
That's awesome.
fun.
Super fun.
And Carolyn was at the first float. So yeah, it's been really neat, y'all. Again, we had a great crowd this morning. Really, really great crowd. And one of my devotions last week, the phrase that really stood out to me, it was on Tuesday. It said, relationships over real estate. Anyway, I was just in time. I was praying because we're looking at church property very
I was about to
seriously
say,
again.
how fitting.
And in there, out of nowhere, the guy said, "Pastors," and I don't know why, probably because he was talking to me. He said, "Don't get distracted with real estate. It's important, but it never takes precedence over the relationship of your people." So that was just good for me. So I've been praying that toward the end of the week, and today I saw over 400 people again gather in the building, and then online so many more. So we're thankful for the relationships and excited to see
Definitely.
each year as the parade float grows and the Christmas with Santa grows and the new believers grow. Y'all, we're getting close to having 30 salvations this year,
That's awesome.
just in 2021. So very thankful for that. And we are praying. All right. So that's amen. If we are praying in dreaming together. So we invite you to do that with us as well as we're getting ready here. Just in the next few weeks, y'all, we're going to be closing out 2021, kicking off 2022 again. I don't know if we're going to have like a theme or anything for the year right now. If I did, I think it would be kind of on like relationship, being together, being unified. Anyway, last year we did some silly things and I just dropped the ball toward the end of the year, like family fun days, Sunday fun days and things.
Yeah, we did.
I think in January might kick those back off. I have flirted with the idea
Is that
of
when
doing
we
like
did
some
80
church
Sunday?
lunches.
That was the craziest thing.
80,
we've done.
that was too much. That was weird.
think we
that
crossed
was
the line.
I crossed the line. That was a mess. That was just
Costumes on Sunday morning might not have been.
That was
it
too
felt
silly.
a little
That was-
too much.
I changed. I went back to the vest after that. I was like, I can't. This is not youth group, and I love youth group, but we can do
You can
better.
go so far from.
We did learn on that one. But yeah,
It
so
was
any
fun, though.
ideas that you have on that? I want to be intentional about getting to know each other. And that is our prayer, y'all, because really, there's a lot of folks, and I'm praying a lot more come, but I want us to know each other well. And I want everybody that comes to the doors. I had a beautiful conversation with a lady, and I'm thankful. I watched today as I was talking to her, other people in the room that get there a little early, especially before second service, and just come in and kind of sit. And I was kind of looking at them, not in a weird way, but just kind of observing. And it almost looks like some folks come in early and just sit and almost kind of collect themselves, just kind of sit there for a moment. The music's playing, and just kind of go, all right, I'm here. We're gonna do this. But another thing I do, I've heard stories like this.
In all honesty, I admire people like that.
It's wonderful.
I want to be that person.
But one of the things I would like, and I'm so thankful that so many of us already are doing that. So many of you are already doing that, and on here doing the same thing. Not in an awkward, like go up and start a live conversation, but just the gentle, when you see other people at church, just saying hello and having a conversation with them. Before church, y'all, it's so much fun to see that at Lake Point. After church, until like 1 o'clock today, people would love it. People were just talking inside the building, out in the parking lot. I pray, I want in 2022, everyone that walks through our doors to know that they belong and that people are thankful that they're there. I want that to be a part of who we are, and it already is, but to continue doing that. So very, very good. Carrie Peters, we're glad you joined us this evening.
Hello,
I hope service was well this morning. Looking forward to hearing about that soon. Mine was in the wall for sure.
I think she means baptistry.
Oh,
I was
Shanna,
reading it,
I'm sorry.
so I was wondering.
I'm right there. Right there. Shanna.
I knew you were going to struggle with
Sydney, how old was Sydney on our first float? Do you remember when Sydney and
that. I
Christopher
want to say like
was like married? They were Mary and
13,
Joseph.
13,
They were young and adorable.
14.
They're still
Yeah,
adorable,
it was
but
super
just a
fun.
little bit older.
I just remember that Jacob Walls was in the marching band, and when we turned the end of the float path, we picked up Jacob and his instrument, and he rode back with us. It was fun.
Yes.
Good memories. Lots
Absolutely
of fun times.
That's good. I think Carolyn Kelly's
You're a
quote
little
could
weird.
go on my tombstone one day. This is good. Danny, hold on. I got to go back. You know you were a little weird, but love you anyway. My girl, Carolyn. I love it. Helen Wagoneer, but she never took credit for her music. I remember her waking up almost every night to talk to God, and she would get inspiration. That is absolutely beautiful.
Miss Joyce has talked about her sweet mom a lot.
Heather,
She and I've talked about
we're
her.
looking forward to making these connections with you. It
Yes.
sounds like, right? Is that right, Heather? At the women's retreat, able to make some. And then anybody on here, Heather, this is neat. I'm really thankful, even on social media in the last couple of years, people have been able to connect. And we're looking forward to that. Yeah, that's right. So this morning at service, I was watching some other folks, but y'all just stopped for a few minutes and it was good. Had a phenomenal conversation with a young lady in our church, 2 kids, and just anyway, this morning the Lord used that to remind me that it's important to stop and have conversations even when you're going from point A to point B, especially in a church building, especially when other people are gathering, because we don't know what the weeks have been like, the good, the difficult, but for us, the togetherness, which is really good. So.
And once in a while, Danny and I will go into a church as visitors. I mean, we'll just intentionally visit another church if we're on vacation or something like that. You forget what it is like to be in a room full of people who are familiar with each other, but not familiar with you. It makes you feel like you're standing out, I don't know, it's just easy to feel out of place. So I'm thankful that we don't hear that about Lake Point from people who are truly just visiting. But one thing that I think that I love to see is when a family is sort of just starting to come and just getting to know everybody. I love to see some of our people who are more familiar kind of go over and embrace them and say, hey, why don't you, and just those connections being made. Sometimes you can actually watch it happen. And it's fun to see kids get to know each other and be more familiar with each other in class and all those different things. So
That's right.
I would love an emphasis for that for our next year, because it's something that we have always been known for, but I think you can always improve.
That's right. This morning in the sermon, it was all just on one verse, Matthew 1:23, that says, the virgin shall conceive a child and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel. And we talked this morning in the services about how God allowed Jesus to be born. God allowed God to be born because Jesus was fully God and fully man. He allowed him to be born so that we could have, for the first time in history, God being with us in the flesh, and how Jesus was the perfect gift in that. But I want us just for a few moments tonight, as we're talking about Emmanuel, God with us, to discuss that as well. How in our lives, one of the greatest ways we have experienced the presence of God, the consistent presence of God, is through the gathering of other believers that are also following his example and following after Christ. So to me, that's one of the greatest gifts of the church and of the body, of other believers gathering together, because there have been times in my life where I have prayed, Lord, I know that you are present. I know you are with us and you're for us, but I am in a difficult spot. It's been amazing to me how many times like that, where we have had someone else, either outside of our home or in our church, come alongside and pray for or encourage or help out. And it's almost like you see the presence. Jesus is the embodiment of God. That's what we're saying.
Definitely. But
Jesus is
feel
the embodiment. But I'm wondering tonight, just so we can have a conversation for a little bit, if we have the Holy Spirit living in us and we gather together with other believers, there's something about that. Like when two or more gather, when you have other believers gathering together, it's like the presence of, not, we are not God. I'm not saying that, but we are the vessels that can do that. Yeah.
I don't know what that made me think of it. Just the other day, you were talking about how Mr. Sweet Tom Robertson from Milledgeville First Baptist.
Tom and Edith, his wife's name is Edith.
They were so sweet, and goodness, they must have been in their 80s, and he was a retired pastor, right? Is that right? Danny and I went to First Baptist Church. That was my First Baptist Church. It was in Milledgeville, and we loved it. And there were lots of sweet, very elderly, precious people who just took us under their wings, and in a million different ways, just loved on us. And that night, we wanted to go out to dinner on a date, and we were so poor. I just remember literally pulling together money. I don't know. I mean, physically going through and saying, well, I have like $4 and we decided we could go to the Chinese buffet.
It was so good though.
On 441.
I love a Chinese buffet.
Next to Video Warehouse.
I miss that in life.
And
next to Video Warehouse. There was also Tanning Bed, kind of sketch, but it's fine.
Very sketch. And so that you can imagine the food was also probably not like the
good.
most high quality.
It was so good though.
But I remember knowing that it was like $6.98 a person, and we had scraped together, $14, and we're going to drink water and do the whole thing. And we went to dinner, and he bought our dinner. And I just can remember now how that felt.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And it's one of those, like, we hear the stories of people saying, buy the meal for the person behind you, and we do that. And we're in a different place in life where we can go through Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
It
was one of those big moments. Yeah. And we knew also, and they are both with the Lord now, they didn't have
they were
very little discretionary income. But did we talk to him about it? No, later, but the little waitress, the little lady up front said, that gentleman already paid for you. And he wore a suit everywhere. He just, good people.
So precious. But I can't explain it to you except that it was like, we knew that it was the Lord saying, you know what, I'm going to love you through these people.
That's right.
It was very sweet.
To me, like, in one of the reasons that we have the body of believers, as we're, sometimes it gets hard, waiting.
Well, and sometimes you don't know. I mean, he had no way of knowing that was not just a kind gesture to us, but it spoke to us specifically like, you know what, I'm in your corner, I'm with you. God will let you know he's with you through other people if they will allow it, if they will allow themselves to be used by him. I don't know that Mr. Tom ever really realized that he wasn't just being kind.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think he, like Susie said, such wisdom. I think he did know that it was just, when you know it's time to do something, I think you just had gotten so good at being obedient to the Lord.
Which is why, and that's what Joyce said, have thine own way of the Lord, thou art the potter, I am the clay. That's it. That's exactly like the old hymn says, Joyce. But like when Jesus is talking to the sheep and the goats, as they're waiting at the gates up there, like the goats and the sheep have the same reaction, but the sheep, his children, his servants also say the same thing. Say, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you? And this is, I know it was a Chinese restaurant and we could have been eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but y'all, in a way, I think
we were hungry.
Tom Robertson did. He fed us, and I believe did that so regularly that it wasn't like he said, today I'm going to bless those two little college kids. Really, it was just, I'm sure over the meal they said, let's get their meal and let's do this.
Sweet.
But to know that whether you're in a building or online, I've watched people on here, like as Heather was saying earlier, being able to have new relationships, and our prayers to be in a community of faith, in a building and online and together in the community, and to know that people on here watching Susie, you have loved people so well via Facebook and the internet and virtual ministry all over the place, and to know that there is something about naturally being together, experiencing the presence of God together. So when Jesus came, to be the full embodiment of God in the flesh of a little baby and grew up to be a man, we know that he lived out that promise that he was Emmanuel. But then he also consistently surrounded himself with other people who didn't have everything figured out, who didn't know everything that was going on. But he consistently did that and taught them, and he never sent anybody out on their own. It was always in little pairs of two or in gatherings. But I do, y'all, I think there is really something important for a church body to always stick to that foundation of, man, we're in this, not just in this together, but we are experiencing the presence of God when we are together, like when we have that as our mission coming in.
Well,
So I'm
and
thankful for
Jesus
that.
said, "You won't have me with you, but I'll send the Spirit to be with you." And that
That's right.
and that Spirit is what is in us as a body of believers, and that's our job to bring that into the world where the peace of God and all those things that the Spirit brings is not there. And so when we're together, the thought is that we're using all of that togetherness to build up the Spirit of God in the world, and then we bring that out into our community that is not full of peace and full of all the things that we know God to be. So I mean, I think that is a big part of what the church is meant to do. It's supposed to support each other, but I think that it's more than just that.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
It's important for us to be together.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you for praying that. We're praying for a permanent campus. He has a perfect plan. Heather, you put that up and then it went away and it came back. I was like, I saw one. The Chinese story shows us God is with. That's right. The Chinese food story. He is with us, Emmanuel. We are in this together through Christ.
That's right.
And I do believe there is something about that
That's awesome.
for us when we are saying, how perfect is that? That's really,
That's awesome,
that's amazing, Tisha. I love
so
that.
excited to hear about
It's
it.
going to be, this is going to be really, really good. Already has been good, but I'm excited, really excited to hear about that. I do want us to, y'all as a church body, as believers, to keep that at the forefront of what the Lord is calling us to do in Madison and online as we are together, because there is something powerful. Two things that I think are extremely powerful for people to say when they come into a church building and they talk to another believer. One is when they're letting their guard down later in the relationship and in the discipleship and getting to know the Lord, when people are able to say things like, you know, I've never shared this with anyone, but, and they just start opening their heart and laying things out. Sometimes it's a confession, asking the Lord to forgive. Sometimes it's just counseling and working through it. But another one is, and I've heard a lot of this recently, and I want us to really pray about running with this, and maybe this being where the Lord's calling us for a little bit. He already is calling us, but really camping out here, is I've had in the last 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 people say, a couple times in tears, absolutely beautiful, this place means so much to me. This idea, and y'all, you know us, we're not a fancy, like we're shopping center, you know what I mean? Wash right laundromat, it's lovely. Like I love it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm watching, and it's not, hear us, like it is not Danny, it's not Shante, it's not we have amazing children's ministry. We believe, and today, this is a prime example of it. I talked to Leanne after church. The kid came back from Dairy Queen, wants to get baptized, wants Leanne to baptize him. It's awesome. I said, Leanne, I'm so thankful for you. The Lord is using you. It's so good. And her consistent answer every time is, oh, Danny, the Lord's just working so much. I just want to praise him for what he's doing. And it's not a facade. It's not to put on a billboard or a postcard. It's really her heart. And it's our heart. Like to saying, Lord, like you're moving. And that's what I love. People, the sweet, sweet spirit. We used to sing that song all the time. Miss Joyce, maybe you sang that one back in the day too. There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place. I hear the brush of angels. It's just beautiful. This idea that like when we're together, that there is a sweetness in the presence of the Lord when a lot of other believers gather together. And I really love that we are having people come together and saying, man, I experienced something here that I'm not experiencing anywhere else. And we just want to celebrate that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like Tisha's comment because I've said that same thing before, and I'm excited to hear how it connects. Cleanse your soul and close at the same time. I think that being together is sweet as a church family, and as long as we can remember that our sole purpose is to build up and glorify God through that relationship and through that fellowship, then we'll never lose that sweetness.
That's right.
I think it's that, as like Leanne said, God's just using it. It's not me. It's just, I think the ticket is just to say, look, I'm just here and I'm just trying to bring God into this situation. I'm just part of the process. We're always going to have that sweetness when that is the way that it's done. And so I want us to build on that as a family of believers and find ways to even more take what we have and go into our community, to our jobs, and to our friends that are not being able to have that sweetness at least once a week.
That's right.
And bring that sweetness to them, because it is something that you need. I don't know how people can go through a whole week without it.
Yeah.
But I know that people do go without it, and it's something I'm like, come on, don't you want to just have this group of people around you? It's just such a good support system. So I think we should share it as much as we can.
Share as much as we can, and we really are trying to find a place to do that with even more folks.
Yeah, but right now we're just
adding
to our
to
number
it and keep figuring that out, and a couple of new things after the first of the year. We are having some more very good conversations. We're going to keep people to continue to pray. I mean, he's leading. We're going to follow as we see where he leads us. I'm like, Lord, it's going to happen. We're excited about that, but good stuff.
I'm excited about one day when you say something specific.
No. Me too.
I'm not saying that to mean anything. I'm just like, I'm ready for us to be like, hey, we found the place. This is the place. It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be a great day. And
But in the meantime,
I love watching, and something neat. And for a long time, y'all, it was cool because it was so many of the kids, and I'd watch these kids come in. I was like, there are too many kids in that little classroom, but we can like close the door, and we're in the adult room.
Now it's
but in the last month, the adults are catching up with the kids because they're bringing more kids, and they're coming, and it's just neat. It's a neat thing to go up on the stage and be able to see new faces and new believers and new relationships, and I love that. And
I just want to encourage people who see this video this week, or who are in the building next Sunday, or even on the virtual ministry throughout this week, because that's such a support group too. I want you to be super intentional to look for new faces that maybe don't have that closeness with all of the rest of us yet, and just maybe find a way to specifically make that person feel more welcome. Not that we're not doing it already, not that nobody's complaining about that. I think that it's something that we love about our church, but I just want to be super intentional about how can we make sure that fellowship is really rooted in the right thing, and then just be intentional, even on the Facebook or however it is that you're connected to us through our ministry. Make those intentional connections and just support one another in some tangible way this week, because I think that's, like we've said, sometimes it is tangible, sometimes it's Chinese food. And I think God uses lots of neat and unique and things that you wouldn't have known ahead of time that it was going to speak to that person in that way, but he can use anything. And you may not know the significance of it, but just listen to him and pay attention and be intentional, and he'll guide you for sure.
Be open to it, because he's faithful. That Miss Joyce, I think we can close with this, if that's okay. This is the hymn right here. I'm not going to sing it. Shante doesn't like me singing.
It's not true. You're making stuff
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Be praying for me, Heather, in my singing. No, I'm just kidding. That's silly. Heather, thank you for that. I'm very, very thankful for you. Teresa was there too. Y'all, this is good. We're going to do some follow-up.
I missed it. Next time I'm going to be in town, we're going to do it.
Oh, mercy. We were camping up there. Y'all, this is the hymn. If you don't know it, go back for real. YouTube this thing. I won't sing it. You can listen to somebody like Jimmy Swaggart. Joyce knows him. Sing it. It's amazing. But it says, there's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place, and I know that it's the Spirit of the Lord. There are sweet expressions on each face, and I know that it's the Spirit of the Lord. Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet heavenly dove, stay right here with us, filling us with your love. I got to sing it. And for these blessings, we lift our hearts in praise. Without a doubt, we'll know that we have been revived when we shall leave this place. I wasn't going to sing it, but I had to sing it to remember the ending.
Yeah, to remember the ending.
I'm going to love that one. Can you love it while we're talking? Look at that.
You can love it while we're
What?
talking.
So, if you don't know that hymn, it's a great one. And make that, y'all, let's pray that over our gatherings this week. Online, Chinese food restaurants,
you never know.
in the schools, at the ladies' retreats. Let's bring the sweet Spirit of the Lord into those places. All right, we're thankful for you. If we can pray for you in any way, as a couple, if our church can do anything for you or your family,
please let us know.
Let us know. We want you to know that you are loved and you are welcomed in our gathering, and we're excited to see what the Lord's going to continue to do. All right. Hope you have a great week. Hang in there with the school kids. If you got school kids,
we do. We've got them.
End of course testing. Don Smith.
What's
up, Don?
Just
have you been here the whole time?
Maybe. Sometimes
Holy
people are
cow.
and they just don't comment.
Don, I got to think about what I said. It's kind of awkward. Just kidding, it's not. Don, I'm thankful for you. Hey, Don, I need to talk to you this week. Something interesting happened at the Old Methodist Church in Buckhead that's now called Faith Bible Chapel. That's just a little quick tidbit. But Don, I'm going to talk to you. Everybody else just be on pins and needles.
Just a very, coded message.
Walk to Emmaus.
Just for
I'm just
Dawn.
going to say that. Walk to Emmaus. Let's see what happens. Jenny's on here too. Yes. Oh, wow. This is too much. Y'all, I'm thankful for you.
You guys have a great week. And
Have
if
a
we
great
see
week.
you on the float or at Pancakes,
we will hopefully see you
Children's
in one of those
Chiropractic
places.
sometime this week. It'll be good to see you.
It'll be good to see
We'll
you.
be around lots of kids ministries this week happening. So
Lots of
fun
kids
times.
ministries, y'all. And next Sunday, we announced it today.
That's
Blake
right.
Sinette's preaching at Madison Campus. Going to bring the firefighter follower spirit.
Alabama
And
fan. Watch out, guys.
we could figure this out.
We may
we
or may not have watched the game with Blake. That was fun.
Wow.
Poor Luke was
Luke was struggling.
about to cry, I think.
Luke on the outside was everything I was on the inside. So, but yeah, Blake's preaching. Justin's leading the music,
It'll be
leading the
great.
worship. And a few of us are heading out to Harmony Campus. Miss Joyce, we will see you in the building next
Yay,
week. It's been a
Miss
while, Miss
Joyce.
Joyce. Save me a seat. I want to sit up front. I'm not
Kids
doing.
have been asking about you.
I don't do anything. I mean, I'll
We're
do
just
anything Rob
showing
wants
up.
me to do. I will do anything. I would love to come and just say some amens from the crowd. That would be fantastic. Sitting there next to me and
We're very
Jeff
excited.
and Shanta, it's going to be great. So, we'll be there next week at the Harmony Campus, and then back the week after that. So it's going to be a wonderful time,
Very fun.
and looking forward to seeing y'all soon. All right, talk to you later.
You
If
guys
you need
have
us,
a great week.
let us know.
Love you guys.